Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Thank you all very much for tuning in. And today, as you can tell, I'm going to be doing an unboxing slash first impression video. This is a package that I received from a gentleman by the name of Vincent Dreamhouse. And this guy sent me a message on Facebook about a month ago, and he was telling me about how he's a perfumer and he's starting this new project which is kind of like scent and photography. And it's almost very reminiscent and evocative of olfactive studios. I actually have a fragrance from that company called Lumiere Blanche. I actually really like that fragrance. It's a really nice cardamom-based scent. And I'm given to understand that it's something similar to that. So he told me it's a pretty big project. He's planning to release the fragrances in January. And he asked me if I wouldn't mind just making a quick video about it on my channel. So here's my video to you, Vincent. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to sample your fragrances. It's always exciting when I get a package in the mail, whether it's a fragrance that was sent to me or one that I bought. Nonetheless, I love getting my nose on new fragrances. So I'm not going to spend too much more time, so let's get this on the way. So there's something quite redolent permeating the bag. Just want to make sure I get everything out of there. So it seems like he's given me some information, and it seems like he has a little bit of information on each scent in here. So of course I can go ahead and read over everything. I can edit this out and include that in there, but despite that, I want to go ahead and open this up. Now there are a lot of samples in here, so I mean this leaves me very, very excited. So you might see this edited and cut up into a few different pieces, but that's because I want to make sure to go back, read a little bit about each scent, maybe what the inspiration is for each one, and then I want to tell you what I think about that. Because when you're dealing with a concept, you know, execution is very important. So I want to make sure that it was executed properly. It was certainly wrapped properly. You have the bubble wrap. One of them, though, did adhere to the bubble wrap. So thank God I noticed it, and I'm not throwing it away. It might end up being my favorite scent of the bunch, right? So, and there we go. So this one is Sandade by Ikiryo. So we have a lot in here, so let me go ahead and read a little bit about each one of them, and then we're going to do them one by one. Okay, so I'm back. It's been about 20 minutes. I've had the opportunity to read the literature on these fragrances, and it was certainly enlightening, because initially I went into it thinking that this was going to be sort of like a scent meets photography thing, kind of along the lines of maybe olfactive studios. But then once I started reading this, I noticed that they were also a little bit about like dream sequences and short stories, which now to me is a little bit evocative of imaginary authors. But each one has kind of like a unique story attached to it, but it goes by collection. So there are actually like 2 or 3 collections in front of me, so I want to break it down that way. Now, just to sort of get this out of the way, when I opened the bag, I noticed that there were these 3 cards included in it with 3 really unique sort of gothic looking illustrations, and I thought that these scents were based on these images, but it turns out that they're just business cards. But nonetheless, they're really cool looking business cards. So just to get that out of the way. So now the name of the entire line is called Ikiryo, which is a Japanese term for the ghost of a living person. And he writes, to me, fragrance is something of a ghost of a living person. And I can sort of understand what he's getting at in terms of how ethereal fragrances are. So let's go ahead and start it off with the first fragrance, which is called Faux Evil. Now, this is actually a French term, and it means false awakening. And the first few fragrances, I want to say the first 3 fragrances, are based on a concept that has to deal with sleepwalking. So I think they're part of the Sleepwalker series, and the first one, it's about a person who wakes up. They think they have woken up from a dream, but they haven't really woken up. So, you know, again, with these, it's about, you know, delivering a concept and executing it efficiently, but also in a way that makes sense. So I think that this is a pretty challenging concept that Vincent has created for himself, but I'm very curious to see how he chose to execute it in terms of the smell. So the first one, once again, is called Faux Evil, which it means false awakening. And I'm not going to do this on skin because I'm already wearing a fragrance and there are a ton of fragrances in front of me, so I'm going to totally choke people out. And I believe these are strong concentration too, even though it's not mentioned here. Okay, the first one is... It reminds me of a fragrance that I've smelled from another company, Hot Parfum. It has a strong, I think it's a cherry note. Now, the note breakdowns are not on here. The only fragrance that he mentions the notes for is Tarte au Poire, which is based off his idea of creating a peach cobbler, but with the note of pear. And that one contains pear and ginger. And, yeah, pear and ginger. But that's the only one that he has actually mentioned notes for. So I'm really doing all of these blind. But this one, I get a really bright cherry note. I think this one is really nice. It has a youthful appeal to it, rather energetic composition. It is a little bit evocative of like those cones that you unscrew and it releases an aroma into the air of your home. So because I've made that association already, it doesn't smell like something I would wear. But this is really interesting. And there is no fragrance on the market, with the exception of the Hot Parfum fragrance that I mentioned earlier, that quite smells the way that this one does. So this is an interesting one. Now, of course, I'm going to include all of these scents in my Indie Scent Exposure series, so I'm not going to talk too much about each one of them, but I definitely want to make sure that I run through all of them to give the, do the justice to them that they deserve. So this one is called Rêve de Papillon, and it was the very first scent that he has created for this project. And the name came from two questions, or the creation came from two questions. What does a man truly in love smell like? What does a man truly in love smell like? And what would his essence be? This scent enclosed is what he came up with. So this one, I did sample, and this one is called Rêve de Papillon. This is a gourmand scent for sure. Many sweet nuances. I almost get like a cinnamon sort of chai smell from it. Spicy, but very warm. It has a cozy, inviting aura about it. It does bring to mind another fragrance that I have in my collection. Maybe perhaps something with the note of chocolate. Really nice fragrance. Really nice, sweet, soft, gourmand, cozy scent. I like it. I like this one a lot. Far better than the first one. The first one is nice, but I love the second one. Now the third one is called Ag Plenaricum, which is a very weird name, but it's basically dream walking, shuffle around. So he took all the letters from dream walking, he shuffled them around, and it's called Ag Plenaricum. And yeah, so I guess this is supposed to be like a confusing scent. He says there is a myth that we cannot read in our dreams. People will have a hard time deciphering its meaning in very much the same way that we have a hard time deciphering our dreams. So let's try this one out. So this is an orangey floral. It reminds me a little bit of, there's a musky quality about it too. Yeah, for me, I pick up on a bit of musk. It reminds me a lot of maybe Unforsaken by Kerosene, Batito Dali by Profumum Roma. It kind of has like this, African orange flower, orange blossom, orangey floral feeling to it. But something about it is delightfully unisex. I like this one too. I actually find this to be much more wearable than the second one. Second one is more of a novelty scent, even though it's warm and cozy. I think that the third one is far more wearable, and I think the unisex quality about it is really going to give it a chance to shine. Now, the fourth one in the line is called Tarte au Poire, and the inspiration behind this was peach cobbler, or the smell of peach cobbler. And he made one using the note of pear, but also ginger. So let's see what this one is like. Oh, this is awesome. This one is really good. Wow. Yeah, it has a sweetness to it. Ooh, definitely uplifting and inviting. The first composition that I got my nose on, it was unbalanced, but not in a bad way. And it seems like as I go further and further into the line, the balance is restored to the point where, you know, it's a really nice blend and a really harmonious blend of the different notes. Oh, this one is so good. And whatever ginger is in here, it's not too strong to the point where it's overbearing or cloying. Not overwhelming at all. This one is great. Might actually be my favorite so far. I've only sampled 4, but I really like 3 and 4. And now, moving on to a different collection, so I have to flip the page. This is from a follow-up to the Sleepwalker project. And these fragrances have very unique names. This one is called Crestfallen, and I think this is the eponymously titled fragrance. So I think this series is also going to be named after this fragrance and vice versa, or the fragrance is named after the series. But it's called Crestfallen. So that's one thing that is really giving me a good impression about his line off the bat, is that he took the time and attention to give these fragrances independent names as opposed to just calling them pear and ginger. You know, I think that's unique when you give it that artistic touch to it. This has a clean quality about it. Maybe it's a floral component. This one, okay, this one he actually does mention what's in it. He says carnations. My concept behind the scent itself is take a handful of carnation, puree them, and pour it into a cup of chai. And I was going to say there's a clean quality about it, and I think it's the carnations, the florals kind of giving it that clean feel. It's nice, but there's a spiciness to it. It's the same cinnamon note that I smelled in number 2, I think. So it's cool. It's a little feminine, but in the end, I definitely think it's unisex. But maybe the carnation note is a little bit too strong for my taste personally. The next one is called Evelyn Cecile, and I don't believe he has any information on this one. He says it's a work in progress, so of course I always bear that in the back of my mind, you know? There's something floral about this too. It's a little bit sharper in its olfactory texture. Maybe something along the lines of frangipani. It has a tropical feeling to it because I pick up on a little bit of sweetness. It's definitely a sharper floral, but there's still a warmth about it. There's a warmth undertone to it. Good. Not my favorite, but I think it's a very nice one. I would love to smell it on my wife. The next one is Âme Torturée. Pardon my pronunciation, but it's French for tortured soul. I thought it was a woman's name. I interpreted it to read Amy, but A-M-E. Okay, this is another warm, spicy, mild, sweet. Okay, I pick up on a little bit of that fruity sweetness that I also got from the very first fragrance that I shared with you guys. Maybe it could be cherry, so maybe there's an overlap. But it's the first one, cherry note, not as strong, but a lot more warmth added to it. Yeah, I like this one. I actually really like this one from this collection. Âme Torturée. But I do think it smells rather similar to the first one that I sampled. This one is called Sinner. And this one also doesn't have a lot of information on it. But I imagine this to be a dark, enigmatic sort of composition. Yeah, and dark it is. I'm not sure entirely what I'm picking up from this. I feel like maybe my nose is shot at this point. But it has a dark, almost earthy quality about it. Maybe patchouli, maybe soil tincture, maybe coffee. I think I'm picking up on the note of coffee as well. There's just something brown and rich and earthy about it. Please tell me if it's coffee. Vincent, if you're watching this video, please leave a comment. Tell me if I'm smelling it correctly, but it's nice. Once again, you know, what I've noticed about these fragrances is that they're all sort of, you know, warm and inviting and dark and rich, not just in terms of the concentration and how bold they are, but also in terms of the notes being used in each one. And I think, Vincent, you did a heck of a job putting these together. I think these fragrances are really nice, really well done, really well blended. And I must applaud you as a perfumer for being able to do this, really. And we have two more. This one is called Shiro Nuri, and it's part of a series that he wants to do inspired by Japanese supernatural phenomena. And this is a ghostly smelling fragrance, but it has more of a girly fashion style. So it's okay, you know, I'll wear women's fragrances if I think I can pull them off. So let's see what this is. Not what I expected. Not what I expected at all. But there's again, a fruity sweetness, but it's not peach or apricot. It's not what we're seeing in the market nowadays. I think this might be raspberry. Oh man, it's actually really good. I would totally wear this. Honestly, I would. And it has a familiar smell to it, and it's killing me that I'm unable to pinpoint what it is. But there's a fruity sweetness in here too. It's not cherry, because it doesn't remind me of the other two that I smelled from the line already. Maybe pineapple? It has some citrusy notes in there too. It has a tropical feel to it, but there's a darkness about it too. Very unusual. I don't know how you did this, but you did one heck of a job, I tell you. And then the last one is a more recent fragrance that he has in the works. This one is a floral scent, and that's all he said about it, that he was working on it recently, and it's a work in progress, and it's a floral scent, and this one is called Sandade. Yeah. It's a subtle floral, and it's a floral along the lines of the other one that you did that has like that orangey component to it, like that orange blossom, African orange flower thing going on in it. This one is along the same lines, and for that reason, I would totally wear this. It even reminds me a little bit of Sunshine Woman by Amouage, minus the note of almond. It just has that background to it. A really nice blend of notes, you know? So, listen, I want to conclude by saying, Vincent, thank you so much for allowing me to get my nose on all of these fragrances. I mean, the fact that I never heard about this and you managed to put so much artwork together means that you've been dutifully busy behind the scenes, and I would love to see this go somewhere, as I'm sure it will in January. I would love to have a few bottles in my collection because I think you have something really special going on here. So I must commend you and applaud you for your artistic ability, but also for your creativeness and the artistry and artisanal efforts going behind these fragrances, because I think you did a really great job with these, and I'm very proud of you. And I'm really looking forward to getting a few bottles in my collection and really helping to, bring them to light and shed some light on them. So once again, thank you very much, Vincent, and thank you all at home for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time and attention and your consistent and loyal support. Once again, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos, and I would also like for you to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about these fragrances, which one really strikes your fancy. And with that being said, thank you once again for watching. This has been Steven with another video from Red Essence, and we'll see you soon.